Welcome back to another video, and today it is episode 3 of the Wrestling Junkie podcast. We still don't have a name for it, but next time we will have a name for it. But yeah, pretty, not too eventful the past 2 weeks. Some pretty good stuff that we'll get into, obviously. Kind of starting things off, King and Queen of the Ring has officially started. So far, how you felt about the matches so far?
Yeah, obviously, we got the match reveals before Raw happened, so, we kind of got that excitement going into that Raw. And the matches were, obviously really good on paper. We had Gunther and Sheamus, we had Kofi and Rey Mysterio, Ricochet and Ilya, Jey Uso, Finn Balor, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Baron Corbin, Carmelo Hayes, LA Knight, Santos Escobar, and Angelo Dawkins and Tama Tonga. Obviously, Bobby Lashley was replaced by Angelo Dawkins because of an injury. But yeah, a lot of, just good matches. My favorite probably being Ricochet versus Ilya Dragunov. But yeah, pretty exciting stuff. Hopefully we'll get to that, Ilya versus Gunther match. I think that's what a lot of people are kind of hoping for. And it looks like we'll get it.
Yeah, really enjoyed both rounds of King and Queen of the Ring. We started off the night with Jey Uso and Finn Balor. It was supposed to be Drew McIntyre and Finn Balor, but at the start of the show, Drew was announced that, or before the show even started, actually, Drew was announced that he wasn't medically clear for the night. And this would play into a segment later on in the night with him and CM Punk. But yeah, we had Jey Uso replace him. He gets the one over Finn Balor. Then after that, we had an amazing match between Ricochet and Ilya Dragunov. One weird thing about this tournament was we had matches on the live events time recording today and yesterday, which was a bit weird. I kind of feel bad for those people. We had LA Knight and Santos on the pre-show, or not pre-show, but the live event. Same with, I think it was Zelina and where's she even at? I don't even see her on here.
It was Ivy, right? Zelina and Ivy? I could have swear that's what it was. Nah, I don't even see her on here anymore.
She got replaced by Maxine Dupree. So it was Shayna and Maxine. Okay, so
she's on the injury list too, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty good matches in the first round. And then in the women's side, we had Shayna Baszler defeat Maxine Dupree on a live event. We had Io Sky defeat Natalya, and actually a pretty good match. Didn't have too high expectations, but they over-delivered in my opinion. We had originally Asuka versus Lyra, but Asuka, another person who is injured, and we'll get to that later on. Dakota replaces her. Ivy loses to Zoe Stark. Naomi beats Nia Jax beats Naomi. Jade Cargill beats Piper Niven. Tiffany Stratton beats Michin on a live event, and Bianca Belair defeats Candice LeRae. Now going to the next round, what are some of the matches you are most excited for?
Probably Jade Cargill and Nia Jax. I feel like that's going to be a big one. They kind of, hinted towards like a little feud between them at Rumble kind of, where obviously Jade Cargill throws Nia over the top rope and kind of taunts her, I guess, after she kind of realizes she's been eliminated and whatnot. So probably that one.
Yeah, one I'm looking for on the women's side is definitely Tiffany and Bianca, and two young people. Obviously, Tiffany even younger than Bianca, even though she's still pretty young. So that should be pretty good as well. Even Shayna and Io could be fun. And on the men's side, what I'm looking forward to is Randy Orton versus Carmelo Hayes. First time we're getting that, and should be pretty exciting.
Yeah, and LA Knight versus Tama Tonga, that could be pretty interesting as well. Gunther, Kofi. Obviously, they have like a history that's been built up over the past couple months. Even before Mania, they kind of, had the history with him and Xavier Woods and Imperium. So yeah, I think that could even be interesting. But yeah, all the matches so far have been pretty good. No complaints so far. Like you said, some people, were on live events doing their matches. But I did see LA Knight tweet today, and he was like, he doesn't mind doing that at all because he can have more fun on the live events and do more like different things than you could on TV. But he said, I know a lot of people are saying, poor me, whatever, but he's like, I don't mind it at all. I'm actually having fun with it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and very cool for the people at the live events as well, because it gives them something to actually care for. It's something that actually has meaning to it. We went to a live show not too long ago, or last year actually, but a lot of the matches are championship matches, and you know the belt's not going to change, so you kind of know the result already. Even though, despite them being good matches and fun and stuff like that, it doesn't have as much meaning to it, obviously. So, cool to see, the fans get a fun experience at live events. But with all of that, we did have some more matches announced for King and Queen of the Ring, and we'll start off with the first match that was announced on Raw, and that was Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan, which did play into the Lyra versus Dakota Kai segment. Becky comes out, she talks to Michael Cole for a little while, Liv Morgan interferes, then Damage Control comes out, they kind of surround them, and they're about to attack both of them. Liv and Becky are kind of standing back to back, kind of seeming to coexist for a little bit, but Liv Morgan gets out the ring and leaves her stranded, and Lyra comes out, and they have their match. But yeah, what's your expectations and excitement for Becky and Liv?
Yeah, at first, I didn't really like that Liv didn't win the battle royal, so win the belt and whatnot. But now that we're on the other side of it and we're in hindsight and everything, I do agree that that probably was the better decision. Let her probably beat Becky here and then get the belt, because that'll mean a little bit more and be a bigger win for her. And as they mentioned on TV, she's actually never beaten Becky Lynch, according to her. So this will be her first win over Becky and for the title. So that's pretty big. And then obviously we'll get her versus Rhea Ripley at some point in the future. But yeah, pretty excited to see that. But most important, I think, this next match, I think it'll be very exciting. And that's going to be the Intercontinental Championship match, which it has been announced and it is official. And it's a triple threat match. Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable versus Bronson Reed. And this is going to be a really, really good match.
Yeah, really excited for this one. Chad Gable and Bronson Reed have a match. And very early on, Sami Zayn runs in, attacks both of them, has a DQ. And then Adam Pearce makes it official like he does. And so really excited for this one. Three great athletes. Sami and Chad obviously have a pretty long rivalry at this point, and this new version of Chad Gable we're getting should be very interesting. So really excited for that one. But then skipping over to this past Friday, we have a very interesting match, and I think is going to kind of tear a lot of the wrestling community apart, and because people want different things, obviously. But Cody Rhodes will be taking on Logan Paul in a champion versus champion match. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I like Cody. I like Logan. I think they're going to put on a really good match. So, I'm not really that mad at it. Obviously, you would like it to kind of be someone else to kind of be built up. But at the same time, who would we put, versus Cody right now? That kind of makes sense. Obviously, there is people who you can, put in a match versus him for a belt. We just seen AJ Styles, for instance. There's more people like that you can put up against him. But they haven't built that story yet. I would assume we're gonna lean towards a Randy Orton feud soon with Cody. I would hope so, at least.
Yeah.
While he's the champion, hopefully, and that's kind of what I'm expecting to be next. But I feel like this is a good transitional match. It's two big names. You want both of these names on the card, no matter what. Preferably, you would like to see Logan defend his title, obviously.
Yeah.
But the kind of big thing here is if Cody wins, he'll be a Grand Slam champion. He would have officially held every belt. So yeah, I kind of see the point in it as well.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where they want to do what they want to do with Logan after this, assuming he does lose this. Because right now, SmackDown, a lot of people have been talking since after the draft that the card or the roster feels a little bit is pretty weak compared to the Raw side. They don't have too many heavy hitters, and a lot of the guys who you would want to see against Cody or Logan are in the King of the Ring. So, bit interested to see what Logan has going forward. This could also potentially not even be for both belts. We still have a few weeks left between now and then, so could get something changing, or the match can end a DQ and that's neither one of them walk as a double champion. So, but yeah, pretty good week of King and Queen of the Ring. But going back to Raw, we had Drew McIntyre. So he talks with Adam Pearce and is like, "Where's Punk? I want him." And then he leaves out the arena, and as soon as he leaves, CM Punk comes in, and CM Punk cuts a promo that he wants to fight him, and whenever he does see him, he's gonna beat him up and stuff like that. How where would you rank this as like a feud right now in terms of like it's one of the best feuds probably in WWE right now, but neither of them are active right now. Both of them are technically injured. And we've had no interactions between them physically, at least.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing it good. They're shooting, all the angles perfectly. Obviously, in what you were talking about is, Punk was in like the rafters at one point while Drew was in the ring. He tells Drew to come up. Drew goes up. Then as he goes up, Punk went down. The music plays as Drew's at the top, and he's kind of talking to Drew as he's up top, and Punk's in the ring now. So yeah, it's kind of, they've been playing it off really well. They even did the little thing where Drew leaves the show, and then Punk pulls up right after in the car. Then he goes walking to the ring, and they've been playing it off a lot. Obviously, this is kind of the most they can do, like you said, because of the injuries. So, I think they're doing the best with it they possibly can, and Drew's doing all his internet stuff. Punk even been feeding into the internet memes a little bit, and getting in there a little bit. But yeah, I'm really excited for it. I'm excited to see when it actually happens, of course, and just to see what Drew does, period, because I want to see him hopefully win the title back.
Do you think we can potentially see this on King of Queen of the Ring, the PLE?
Nah, I don't think it'll happen this quickly. I would like it to, but I don't think it will.
No. What kind of do you think they're gonna say that for Clash of the Castle? That'll probably be without the belt, or do we think it'll be even after that, maybe like even a SummerSlam?
It'll probably be like a SummerSlam if I had to guess. It'll probably win the belt at Castle and then defend it versus CM Punk at SummerSlam, I would assume.
Yeah. But yeah, after that, we also had some news after UFC St. Louis. Dana White was on doing like the post press conference, and somebody asked him a question, and he started talking about the future of TKO and like their events they're gonna be running on the weekends. And he basically said that WWE could be going back to Sundays. How do we feel about that? What do we think?
Yeah, I don't really mind too much. It kind of, it is what it is for me either way. It kind of falls on a weekend for me no matter what. Now, if there was, overseas show, then that would mean that I'd have to watch it at like Monday morning at like 4 in the morning, which is why I don't think that they're going to do it, because I would assume, obviously the United States is a massive part of their market, so I don't think they would want to, run an event quite like that. So I don't think it'll move to Sundays, but no telling.
Yeah, and he said it with almost a little bit of confidence, and it was weird because, like you mentioned, if it falls on a Sunday and then it's overseas shows for us on a Monday, but also that means every show that's in America is also going to be on a Monday for everybody else overseas. So really hope they don't do it. I think it's been phenomenal since they've went to Saturdays, since I've came back to watching the PLEs and stuff like that. So I would like to say it on Saturday. I kind of got used to it finally. Now getting into some AEW news, we do have a Double or Nothing matches announced. So far on the show, we have Willow Nightingale take on Mercedes Moné. We have Roderick Strong take on Will Ospreay after he won a Battle Royale. We have Toni Storm take on Serena Deeb. Swerve taking on the recently returning Christian Cage. And then we have Anarchy in the Arena making its return this year. And that is the Team Elite take on Team AEW. And that's Bryan Danielson, Eddie Kingston, and FTR. How are we feeling about it so far?
Yeah, I mean, really, really good card. No complaints thus far, but AEW always seems to add those last minute ones. But obviously another one that's not mentioned on the card is going to be Adam Copeland versus Malachi Black. He recently challenged him, I believe it was on Collision, and they'll be going face to face this Wednesday, so I assume that'll be made official this Wednesday, and I think that'll probably be the one I'm most excited for.
Yeah, and to add on to that, on Collision, Adam Copeland announced that it will be in a steel cage barbed wire. Haven't seen that in AEW, I don't believe. I don't remember the last time we've seen it in WWE either. So yeah, I'm expecting a lot from that match. Edge has been able to do very well in his matches to keep up with the younger guys and has put on great matches. He just put on a phenomenal match with Kyle O'Reilly. But yeah, really excited for that one. But yeah, just keeping on Double or Nothing and going back to Christian Cage, he did return. After the Elite kind of butted in on Swerve Strickland's promo, they say, hey, we have a challenger for you, and they did say it was Christian Cage. Now, the weird thing with this is Christian Cage and Jack Perry, although that feud is basically finished, I wonder if that will play into a future storyline, if like that, because obviously it kind of ended with both men just hating each other. So, do you think that could potentially play into anything?
Yeah, I mean, I would assume at some point it will. And with Kill Switch and shit as well, I think they'll all come face to face at some point, and hopefully we'll see the Jungle Boy and Kill Switch, because I think that'd be interesting to kind of revisit that. Now that Kill Switch is Kill Switch now, and not Luchasaurus, and now Jack Perry is like this new, he's a new character. Like before he was Jungle Boy, and that's kind of what you knew him as, but now he's Jack Perry. Now it's almost like a new character, almost, even though he's the same, obviously. Yeah, really exciting matches. I mean, a lot of championship matches obviously already been announced. And yeah, I like the whole thing that Swerve's doing as well, with his kind of open challenge that he's sort of doing with everyone, or his Eliminator challenge, I believe he's calling it. But yeah, I'm also enjoying all of that as well in AEW right now.
Yeah, and then going back a few weeks, we had Chuck taking on Trent in a backstage brawl or a parking lot street fight, whatever you want to call it. And during the match and after the match ended, Trent Beretta gets a wrench and hits Chuck in the ankle. Now, at the time, obviously everybody's just thinking, oh, just to write maybe him off or anything like that. But come to find out, Orange Cassidy comes out the next week and basically says that he was forced to retire, and I don't know if anything's made official or anything like that. Chuck hasn't came out and said anything just yet. But if he does retire, it does suck, because I know a lot of people really enjoyed the tag team of Best Friends and wanted to see them win tag team gold eventually. Sucks that we may not ever get that. But yeah.
Yeah, obviously, I guess it's kind of a little, bit, like a cherry, I guess, if you want to find some sort of positive out of this, is that it was, at least his best friend that did it, and it wasn't like it builds a lot of heat for his best friend, obviously he was having the whole heel turn thing, and this will help a lot with that. Unfortunately, obviously, the way it's going to build heat, and obviously you would like for this not to happen, but it's going to build him up for sure. I think next time you see him, he'll probably have, a lot of boos in the crowd, I would assume, and that's probably, the best case scenario out of what happened, obviously, is at least someone comes out better, than before, hopefully. But yeah, really bad. Hopefully he gets better. Hopefully he can come back to the ring one day. It's not official that he's retired. He didn't say it himself, and I kind of, I hold that for him to say it. But yeah, hopefully he does come back eventually.
Yeah. And then after all that, we have an upcoming Dynamite, and that we have Dax taking on Okada for the Continental Champion. Should be a really good match. We also have Mercedes and Willow doing a contract signing. Then we have John Moxley and Bryan Danielson taking on Kyle Fletcher and Jeff Cobb. And then we have Hook is returning back to action as well. Also, we have Orange Cassidy, who has been kind of going with Don Callis in that group, which I personally don't want to see, because Orange Cassidy felt like that forever babyface. Like, the one guy, no matter what happens to him, he'll always stay face. So maybe he gets into that, maybe he doesn't, but we'll see. On other news, Young Bucks and Jack Perry returned to New Japan last night on Resurgence after Eddie Kingston and Gabe Kidd had their match. Jack Perry comes out first, and the Young Bucks come out. That was their first time being in a New Japan ring in over 5 years. Ever since they've made AEW, they haven't been back in New Japan. So pretty cool to see there. Also just building in the feud of, Young Bucks and the Elite versus Team AEW for that Anarchy and Arena match. But kind of ending things on a sad note, I kind of want to talk about the current injury bug that's going on in WWE. We kind of talked about earlier with a lot of the people being replaced. Now, whether or not a lot of these are storylines and stuff like that, that's whatever. But I kind of want to go through the list of some of the people that are injured. Obviously, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Rhea Ripley, Drew McIntyre. I mean, just those four alone is, four of the biggest people in the company are gone. Not only that, we have Charlotte, Asuka, Big E still, obviously. Cora Jade, Jimmy Uso, Dominic Mysterio, Shotzi, Sonya Deville, and Eric. And also Bobby Lashley as well.
Zelina
Vega's out as well. It really sucks because, like I kind of said, there's a lot of talent there who are either future stars in the company or current stars in the company. So obviously it really sucks to have a lot of people out.
Yeah, Cora Jade, I mean, it's been rumored that she was supposed to kind of be called up to the main roster alongside with Roxanne Perez as like some sort of tag team that they were going to form in AEW before, or in NXT before going up to the main roster. But that kind of stopped that as Cora Jade tore her ACL, I believe it was. Obviously, Asuka, she apparently has been injured since even before Mania, and she did a whole Mania match while injured. She put up, with a lot of pain, obviously, going through that. And then even Drew McIntyre, his elbow been hurt ever since the CM Punk spot where he kind of trips him in the ring, but he kind of wrestled through that as well. Seth Rollins, we all know his crazy WrestleMania history, injury, whatever you want to call it. There's just so many people, even like Dominic. He's a big part of, on TV. Thankfully, he can still be on TV. He's not that hurt to where you just can't use him at all. So at least we still have, him there doing that, as well as CM Punk. But yeah, the injury bug is really bad right now. Hopefully, obviously, everyone gets better soon, and we can see him back in action soon. Because obviously, having some of the top people in the company out at the same time, especially, kind of sucks.
I think it goes a long way to say how good the product is right now in WWE. That all these top people are out, and yet the product is still some of the best it's been. So yeah, obviously it might get better. On other news, I remember this as well. Mania will be going to Las Vegas next year. Everybody thought it was going to Minneapolis and that, but comes out Vegas had the higher bid, I guess, and they will be going to Vegas. So should be pretty exciting. Obviously, we have Stand and Deliver there, and then not only that, upcoming we have Battleground that's gonna be happening in the UFC Apex Arena. But yeah, pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, a lot of Vegas, kind of getting more into the wrestling scene, it seems, which I think is really good, obviously, being that, obviously, TKO and is merged the UFC and WWE. Mm-hmm. So you kind of want to have as many fans cross over to both brands as possible. So yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah. And right before we end, I'll kind of like a new segment for just something to add. Matches of the week, or the past 2 weeks. So since the last podcast, what has been your favorite match so far?
My favorite match is going to be Ilya Dragunov versus Ricochet. I think it was a perfect match to kind of put Dragunov in to kind of show what he could do versus a guy like Ricochet. Kind of sucks that Ricochet had to lose because it seemed like they were building him up before then, and then kind of feels like he lost a little bit of momentum after that. But yeah, hopefully, we'll see more of him soon. But yeah, I think that was my favorite.
Yeah, for me, keeping in King of the Ring, I'll go with Gunther and Sheamus. Absolutely phenomenal match to main event Raw. They had a lot of time in the match, and yeah, just Gunther put a beating on Sheamus. Sheamus put a beating on Gunther, and it's everything we want in a Gunther versus Sheamus match. But yeah, that will do it for episode number 3 of the Wrestling Junkie podcast. Thank you guys if you made it this far. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And we'll catch you guys in the next one.